वासुदेवाय नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणे Hare Krishna. So today is verse number 7. Krishna, after giving his judgment that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be given up. So now, Krishna in the, I think, third of fourth verse, he says that Tyaga is also of three types based on the three modes. So Krishna said, like, you should look at this renunciation and Tyag from three angles, how it will be performed by different people in different modes. So now from this verse, actually Krishna starts explaining about the different types of people in different modes and how they perform the Tyag. Okay. Let's see this. Niyatasya tu sanyasaha
नियतस्य तु संन्यासः
karmano nopapadyate
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
mohatasya parityagas
मोहातस्य परित्यागस्
tamasaha parikirtita.
तमसः परिकीर्तितः
So,
नियतस्य तु संन्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहतस्य परित्यागस् तमसः परिकीर्तितः
नियतस्य तु संन्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागस्तमसः परिकीर्तितः.
okay. So translation and purport. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport. Work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for the Supreme Lord or offering food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended. It is said that a person in renounced order or life should not cook for himself. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform marriage ceremony to help his disciple in advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activity, it is to be understood he is acting in the mode of darkness. So first Krishna explained about the ignorance. How is the sannyas or renunciation in ignorance? So one very good example can be because here Krishna says niyastasya, so our prescribed duties or nitya karma should not be given up. If that is given up because of what? Mohat, because of moha, then it is in tamasa, ignorance. In the three modes of material nature, Krishna has explained that the main quality of ignorance is moha, moha for enjoyment. And the passion is action. Some action is done in the passion. And goodness is knowledge. So for ignorance, the main reason is moha. So moha means rejecting the scriptures or rejecting what is specified or what we are supposed to do and doing something different. That is not recommended. Is moha. And there is mainly the problem of uh, enjoyment for the self. That is the problem. So renunciation, we can see, like for ignorance, we can, there have been several examples, right? In the 1960s, when Srila Prabhupada went to America, there was this culture of giving up everything. It was called, like what we say, hippie culture. Right? So these people, they gave up everything. They gave up their family, they gave up their relationship, they gave up their house, they gave up their duties, their work, and they just lived on the road, sleeping on the road, just drinking, eating, and free sex, free wandering everywhere without any restrictions. And they formed these communities, and they used to work in like that. So this culture was very prominent. uh, and in one way, we can see that, okay, these hippie people, they gave up their family, they gave up their work, everything they gave up. But what did they achieve from that? And what was the purpose of that? The purpose was to give up their responsibilities and just do whatever their mind wants to do. That was the intentions of giving up all these responsibilities, what we can say. So this type of renunciation, right? In one way, they have renounced everything, but they are doing it for themselves. So this is moha. There is no higher purpose in that. They will take drugs and LSD and everything, and that was their purpose. Okay, by LSD they feel higher or something like that. But that's all because of the ignorance. They didn't knew the purpose of life. They don't know what to do. They just knew that give up everything. We don't want any restrictions. So that is called moha, ignorance, renunciation in ignorance. Nowadays there is also culture of how to say, not in Japan only, but in other countries also, a lot of countries, there is this new culture going on that I want to live alone. So I don't want my family restrictions. I don't want any society restrictions or social motherings, nothing. I will do my job, I will work, and I will live alone the way I want to live. Okay, so the people will not get married also. They don't want children. They don't want mother and father. They don't want their brothers and sisters. Nothing. They do work and then they enjoy the life. How they enjoy? They live alone. They take big house or whatever house they want. Then they decorate that house. Then they work. They earn money, and when there are holidays, they go on trips to different parts of the world. So they say, I don't want any restrictions. I will live like this. So in one way, if you look at it, it's renunciation. They have renounced that relationships and everything. They live alone. They maintain themselves. And but this type of renunciation, there is no higher purpose. There may be few people who are working in direction of higher purpose by living alone, of course. In Buddhism, in Vaishnavism, there are people who live alone. They work, they maintain themselves, and they dedicate their fine time for devotional service or higher realization or meditation. There are people like this. So I'm not talking about them, but the other maximum people are, they want to have their own space, their own time, their own way of living. So this is moha. They are too much focused on themselves, and that's why they renounce everything, and they don't want any bothering. So this type of renunciation actually does not lead to any higher understanding. But because this is of moha tasya parityaga. So this type of renunciation, tamasa parikirtita, this is called renunciation in ignorance. So actually the purpose of renunciation is to gain higher consciousness, to higher understanding, higher spiritual realizations. That is the purpose. But if that is not achieved, uh, that is not aimed at, then there is a problem. So this type of renunciation we should observe very carefully, because in culture or in Vedic societies, Vedic culture, there is very high standard, or there is very high recognition of people who are sannyasis. In India, a person who is in sannyas state is very highly respected now also, and they are looked at very learned and intelligent, and having some higher realizations. So now also in India, if you go, you can see there is this culture is still there. But not all the sannyasis will be on the same platform. There are different types, uh, and different ways they take the sannyas, and the purpose behind that. So we should be very careful. Of course, following the social etiquettes is important. Of respecting sannyas is important. But we have to be very careful when we judge the people. We should not be immediately jump to the conclusions, because it is Kali Yuga and there is tendency of cheating. So it can come from anyone. It's not recommended to doubt everyone, okay, because that is also a problem, or reject anyone. But it should be very intelligent decisions, and using our intelligence, we should see how everything looks at, and then we can observe by the eyes of Shastra, by the eyes of knowledge, we can see the correct picture. Like this renunciation in ignorance, renunciation in passion and goodness. If we see that, if we understand this in Bhagavad Gita, then we can actually look at the world from those eyes of knowledge to understand the reality. So that is what Krishna is telling, that you should look at the Tyag also from three different ways, because there will be three different types of people. So when Krishna says that, that means there will be some renunciates who are in mode of ignorance, and they can be in any dress. Okay, so we should be careful. That is what Krishna is telling, and of course, we should be very careful of not offending anyone, not rejecting, not blaming. So, with the knowledge in the mode of goodness, actually, we don't react. We are not reactive. We see with knowledge, and we understand the situation, and then we try to correlate with the scripture, what the scripture says for this situation, and then we take the decision. So this is the way of looking at this world, and Krishna is recommending that from the 14th chapter, that there are three modes, three different natures, and people in any nature will behave the qualities they have acquired by the mode. So it's imbibed in this material world, and in Kali Yuga it is more prominent. And in Kali Yuga there are prominence of mode of passion and ignorance. So we have to be careful, very observant while concluding anything. So here Krishna is also recommending the same thing, that because of the moha, because of the ignorance, some people may renounce. But we have to see that this is because of ignorance, and it will not lead to the goal of renunciation. So this is mode of ignorance. So tomorrow, I think next verse, tomorrow means the next verse, Krishna talk about tyaga in passion, how it is done. So we'll see that verse tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any comments, questions, reflections? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna.